Salutations, user here, back with another guide for Rise of the Dead. This time we'll be tackling the newest extreme boss with the 1.5.5 patch, which is the Vein of Nekron. Patch 1.5.5 is a huge update that includes the finished harbor map, a new gun which is the Vector X, two new mods, a new resource, a new melee weapon, a new damage graph, a temperature system, and the Wandering Trader. A lot of new updates, but we'll talk about them next time, because this time we'll be focusing mainly on the Vein of Nekron. This extreme boss can be found in a warehouse near the harbor safe house. But what makes this boss different is that, unlike the high-flying Mothena or the flame-spitting Zrysera, this boss does not have a main body. Rather, the boss is a parasitic-like growths that extend even towards the safe house itself. Its growing tentacles shooting spores along its veins, making it the first boss that actually affects the environment. Remember that you'll need to be at least Mastery level 380 to open the boss's rewards. The Vein of Nekron is also the first boss that can damage players who are not participating in the boss fight, with the players not being able to damage the boss back unless a frostbite modification's been used at a part. The boss initially has 25,000 HP and rapidly heals and increases its max HP, reaching up to a potential 4 million plus. But since it's impossible to shoot it instantly after it spawns, players must wait till the red spores or vein starts growing in a visible area, meaning the boss already has at least 350,000 HP by then. The first fight will take place inside the warehouse. If the player manages to deal enough damage to the boss, it'll start growing outside by destroying the warehouse gate. This means that red spores will now start growing not just inside the warehouse, but also on any surface that's within the proximity of the veins. Like Muthena, the best way to defeat this boss is to keep moving while aiming at the vital spots. If a tentacle manages to hurt the player, this will trigger an armor break, meaning a player has one more chance to dodge them before the next attack basically roots them and disables them for a second. This in turn could make the player vulnerable to more tentacles. The tentacles will always aim for the last distance the player was in. When the spores fully grow, this means that a player could avoid them even with small movements. The max damage you can deal to a single spore is 40,000 with a necronomical tweak, and 4 full damage and a focus mod on a bow. This is doubled if the boss is on fire. So it's also optional to bring a flamethrower or a weapon with the fire modification. Do take note that once you hit a spore or a vein and it turns black, you can still shoot it once more for additional damage before it despawns. This is effective if you want to deal twice the damage while the boss is still healing. At the very least, you'll need 2 maximized high DPS weapons, though personally I use a level 20 Rec 21 with max damage mods and a bow with 1 maxed focus rate mod and damage mods. One of the best ways in defeating the boss is waiting for it to reach its max HP, which is 4 million HP, and then fighting it in the safe house. This way, the enlarged roots will be easy to target. One of the reasons why you should fight this boss is to get a shovel and Vector X parts. The shovel is a new blunt weapon, but you'll need it for the harbor secrets to get a blueprint for the Vector. You can get the Vector blueprint by going under the first boat you see at the harbor, swimming to the bottom and finding a specific spot on the seafloor. Take note that you'll also need a strange key that you can buy from Icarus, the Wandering Trader. This key costs 20 gold. Besides this key, you'll also need a steel fragment, which is a resource you can get by trading weapon blueprints with Lewis in the harbor safe house. The best way to farm steel fragments is by continuously fighting corrosive or any weaker boss for their blueprints with high drop rates.